Hey, good evening, everyone. Broadcasting live, August 25th, 2015. Today's quote is about rebirth. This will be an interesting one, no? I went to McMaster today, McMaster University, and we had we had a meeting. I guess not everybody in the executive or the board was there, but three of us got together and we laid down some plants. I have a few things to say about that, but I'll say it later. And anyway, we got into a discussion. As always, the question came up of with all this discounting of metaphysical questions, you know, this avoiding or refusing to answer metaphysical questions. Why is the Buddha answering something about rebirth? I guess the understanding of the person was that rebirth involves a soul, or it just seems somehow something that you can't prove, for example. So I had to go through my whole spiel of Buddhists don't believe in rebirth, they just don't believe in death, and how reality is based on experience, etc. So anyway, this question comes up often. It's not the question that's being asked here. Robin, would you like to read? It's a big thing.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mahanama the Sakyan came to see the Lord and said, "The town of Kapilavatthu is rich, prosperous, popular, crowded, thickly populated with people. Now when I enter the city in the evening, after waiting on the Lord or the monks, I meet with elephants and horses, chariots, carts, and people, all hustling and bustling along. At such times my mindfulness of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha becomes scattered. Then I think, if I were to die at this moment, what would be my destiny? Where would I be reborn? Have no fear, Mahanama, have no fear. Your death will be good, your end will be good, for one whose mind has for a long time had been given to faith, virtue, learning, renunciation, and in wisdom, even though the body made of the four elements is devoured by birds and animals, yet the mind will soar upward to a good rebirth. It is just as if a man were to plunge a jar of butter or oil into a deep pool of water, and it were to be broken. The fragments of the jar would sink to the bottom, but the butter or oil would float to the top. Your mind, Mahanama, has for a long time been given faith, virtue, learning, renunciation, and in wisdom. So have no fear. Your death will not be bad. Your end will not be bad.
Thank you. First thing we have to clarify here is Mahanama was a Sotapanna, at least. Maybe a higher Sakadagami, who knows. So before you start getting overconfident yourself, unless you are someone who has already experienced Nibbana, certainty is not, it's nearly so easy to find. On the other hand, the Visuddhimagga, which is a part of the tradition, says that even if you just reach the second stage of knowledge, of the 16 stages of knowledge, 14th, 15th being the attainment, the realization of Nibbana, if you only reach the second, which is still very mundane, then it says you're sure, you're safe, you're sure of a good rebirth in the future, in the next life. Future lives after that, not sure anymore. But for this life, your mind is set in the right way. If you really attain the second stage of knowledge, which is basically a appreciation of, or a empirical observation of the law of karma. If you come to see the workings of karma and come to realize that this is the way things work according to cause and effect, that's enough to keep you from performing deeds that might send you to a bad rebirth. So there's that encouragement. But he has a good point here that if someone who doesn't have that sort of reassurance dies, their mind state's very much dependent on, or their rebirth is very much dependent on the mind state at the moment of death. And it's a variable. So it is something to be concerned with. And it's a reason to, this is why mindfulness of death is such a good instigation for further practice. Something that pushes us to do what we can now. Why waste your time when the doors are open to the deathless? The deathless, right? Why do we not take the time to find security for ourselves? It's kind of telling that at this moment he thinks about death. He immediately he automatically drops into mindfulness of death, which is a sign that it's the sort of thing a sotapanna or enlightened being would do. And they would be concerned, because I guess another problem is if you aren't yet someone who is well established in nature of reality, it's hard to, you're not as much inclined to concern for your death, right? You're too caught up in enjoying life. Pamada, this is the kind of pamada, this is the what we call pamada, intoxication with youth, intoxication with health, intoxication with life. You get intoxicated, so you lose track of the fact that you're going to get old. You lose track of the fact that you're going to get sick. You lose sight. You lose sight of the fact that you're going to die. You just lose sight of it. It's not that you don't somewhere deep down know. It's not that you couldn't give the right answer. You can still give the answer, I'm going to die, yes. But you don't think about it. Your mind isn't focused there. It's focused on, well, it's intoxicated. Another part of this quote that has to be clarified is the Buddha isn't saying that the mind actually soars up to heaven. This is conventional speech. He's speaking conventionally, and that's allowed. Don't immediately assume that he's talking about some actual mechanism by which the mind moves. The mind doesn't move, it's not physical. The mind arises and ceases. Mind is consciousness, arises and ceases. So at the last moment of this life, there's an arising consciousness of consciousness and a cessation of consciousness. And in the next moment, there's a new arising of consciousness, but it's got a different, it's somehow changed, somehow new location or new category. So it's maybe in the womb, the mother's womb. But before that, in the moments leading up to that switch, there's quite likely a sequence of mind states after the body uh, has died, where the mind is still not gone to a new body. So death isn't, and we talk about this one patisandhi moment, but juti and then patisandhi. But the mind Just because the body's dead doesn't mean the mind will take a new body immediately. There can be further arisings of mind after mind after mind, without taking reference in the body. It's kind of like a near-death experience, what we call out-of-body experience. And many people talk about this and remember this sort of thing. People claim to be able to talk to spirits up to people who have passed away up to, they say, 49, 50 days. I don't know why. Don't know why. There's nothing in the scriptures about 49 days or 50 days, but it seems to be a thing. And maybe some system set up. Maybe the angels have set it up, that they've got this system by which they guide dead people. And after 50 days, okay, time's up. Come on, time to go. Maybe there's a system set up. Bureaucracy. The bureaucracy of the afterlife, like that movie Beetlejuice, or movies like it. So he's just basically saying that the mind is, by its very nature, the pure mind cannot sink. It's not capable of sinking. Butter is not capable of sinking in water. The mind is not capable of sinking in samsara. The pure mind is not capable of sinking in samsara. Another neat thing is the Buddha's definition or description of this pure mind. These 5 things: faith, which is, well, in this case, it's unshakable faith. The next sutta, there's 2 suttas in order here. This sutta and then the one right after it. Instead of enumerating these 5 things, it talks about 4 things that lead one to be sure of going upward. It's again another description of the Sotapanna. Unwavering faith in the Buddha, unwavering faith in the Dhamma, unwavering faith in the Sangha, and pure morality. Right? Virtues, Aryakanta Sila, virtues that are dear to the noble ones. Arya, what is it called? Aryakantehi Silehi, Aryakanta Sila. Virtue that is dear to the noble ones. So that's what it means here. Or so those first 3 are what it means. Virtue means unshaken in regards to the 5 precepts. Learning means, I guess you could say, an understanding of the 4 Noble Truths, the 4 Satipatthana, the 37 Bodhipakya Dhammas. Renunciation means the giving up of wrong view, at the very least. Wrong view, giving up of doubt, giving up of silabbata, rites and rituals. And wisdom means the realization of the 4 Noble Truths. Realization, this is suffering. Realization, this is the cause of suffering. Realization, this is the cessation. And the realization, this is the path which leads to the cessation of suffering. So this realization really comes at the moment of stream entry, and at the moment of attainment of each of the 4 paths. So it's a nice quote. I mean, it's only really, my teacher said that, like, we think about the Sotapanna as the qualities of a Sotapanna as a means of emulating the Sotapanna. It doesn't mean that you have to be this person, but you emulate these qualities, and this is a really good way of getting closer. You think, I should have confidence. Don't fall into doubt in the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. Really, it's not worthy of doubt. So if you have doubt, you have to ask yourself, is this really worth doubting? To be careful. Virtue, don't let your self fall, even though you still have the potential to be unvirtuous. Practice virtue. Learning, so study. Renunciation, so give up. And wisdom, and practice. Notice study and wisdom are two very different things. Remember, wisdom is referring to actual realization, realization of impermanent suffering and non-self, realization of the arising and ceasing nature of all things. So that's our quote. I'm happy to take questions now. I don't think I probably should mention this every time. If you're in YouTube, we're not answering questions via YouTube. Questions are being answered at meditation.sirimangalo.org. You have to go over there. Ideally, you should be meditating with us there, and we'll answer questions from meditators over there. So do we have any questions here?
We do. Should we focus just in physical sensation of the steps during walking meditation, or should we also pay attention to other stimulus?
With walking, you can mostly pay attention to the feet, but if something does distract you and it overwhelms you so that you're not able to just discard it and keep walking, you should stop, put your feet together. You can even say stopping, stopping, and then focus on the experience. Like seeing, seeing, or thinking, thinking, or pain, pain, or whatever.
I have a question.
All right.
What's the difference between panya and vijja?
I mean, words in Pali are often synonymous, and they're often used synonymously. Vijja can mean, trying to think what the connotation. Panya is just, pa is thorough and nya is knowledge. So it means deep or ultimate knowledge, like it's high knowledge, that kind of thing. Vidya, when you vid something, vid, the root vid, is also means to know, but it can have the connotation of a specific, maybe intellectual knowledge. Usually in Buddhism, it's not used in that way, but it can be. It's usually used, vidya is used to synonymous with panya, and it's also used in the te vidya, the three kinds of vidya, which are special. The Buddha's three vidyas, or te vidya arahata. Not just the Buddha has it, but other arahants also have it. Is knowledge of past lives, knowledge of the arising and ceasing of beings, so seeing other beings arising and born and die, and the third one is enlightenment, so knowledge of the uh, destruction of the asavas. Now, if you notice, these three vidyas are also called jnanas. So there's Pupenivasanusati jnana, Chutupada jnana, and Asavakaya jnana. So they're called jnanas, and jnana is the root nya, which panya comes from. So jnana also means panya, so it's synonymous really. But Vidya more means knowledge, is probably a better translation.
So roughly knowledge and wisdom.
As I think about it, it's probably we plus nya as well. We plus nya is Vidya. Because nya in Sanskrit is J nya, ya. So it's probably Vidya probably comes from Vinya. I'm not sure though.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Doesn't noting an object, thought of desire, aversion, direct the mind towards seeking creation more of the same?
No, no, it doesn't. No, it's totally different. Seeking more of the same leads to seeking more of the same. Noting has nothing to do with seeking. It's observing, it's acknowledging, it's recognizing, grasping. And it's not grasping in terms of wanting it, it's grasping in terms of, as we say, when you grasp a concept. It's a very good word, grasping, in this sense. If you understand what's meant in the English sense, when you grasp a concept means you have clear and unobstructed understanding of the concept. It's a completely different thing from seeking creating more of the same.
This one's a little different. I'm in middle school. Is it okay to go on dates with girls? Is it wise?
You're asking a monk? Not Dr. Phil. Is it okay to go on dates with girls? What do you mean by okay? Are you going to go to hell for it? No, you won't go to hell for it. Not likely. Is it going to obstruct your practice? Maybe. Depends how serious you are in your practice anyway. Is it going to, no, not obstruct, but is it going, first one you have to ask is it going to pull you away from the practice? Maybe. Maybe not. It doesn't necessarily pull you away from, like make you less inclined to meditate, but maybe it does. Does it obstruct your practice? Yes. In the end, it definitely will make it more difficult to practice. So what that means is more difficult to go forward. Whether it actually drags you back, I think that's not necessarily the case. But make it harder to go forward, yes, definitely. Is it wise? No, it's not wise. But we don't all do. Not everything we do is out of wisdom. It should be, but ordinary people do things that are not based on wisdom. Doesn't mean it will pull you away from Buddhism. It just will make it harder to progress.
He just clarified the questions from a spiritual perspective.
Yeah, I know. I knew what he meant.
Is the Dhammapada taken to be the word of the Buddha? What about the commentary, which is the same thing as the story associated with the verse, correct?
The Dhammapada, yes, is taken to be the word of the Buddha. The commentary, no, is not taken to be the word of the Buddha, except the commentary makes some claims. The Buddha said this. Like in the stories, there are words that the Buddha is supposed to have said. So you can take those with a grain of salt. Whether you actually believe that the Buddha said such a thing, it's less reliable than the suttas. The commentary and the stories are a part of the commentary, but an important part of the commentary is also the explanation of the verse. So each verse has a breakdown of the parts. If you want to see an example, I have it on static. Well, this one we're going over in Pali, right?
Oh.
I'll give you a link if you want to see an example of the commentary. This is the commentary to the first verse. And so the commentary, it's in 3 parts. It's actually, that PDF is meant to be a Pali study reader, a reader for people studying Pali. So it has 3 parts, but if you just read the English part, and it's not perfect, there are some mistakes in it that someone actually corrected and they haven't got around to fixing. But it's mostly, so if you look at the end of it, the last part of the translation, it is a translation of the verse, or an explanation of the verse. And each verse has that, but that hasn't been ever translated into English, I don't think.
Is walking meditation considered samatha or vipassana?
Depends what your focus is on. If your focus is on the movement, then that's satipatthana, that's satipatthana vipassana. If your focuses on a concept, so you're walking and you're saying Buddho, Buddho, then it's more likely to be samatha. Some people do that, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. So their focus is actually the Buddha, not as likely to lead to insight, more likely to lead to samatha.
I find it difficult to watch the abdomen while sitting up, but when I lie down, it becomes easier. Is this okay to do?
It's okay to do. Just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's not worth doing. That's what you have to remember. So you're cultivating patience, and that's important. You're also learning to let go and not force the breath, and so that's important. If you lie down, you potentially could fall asleep, so there's that problem. Um, but yes, it's perfectly allowable. It's just you have to be careful that it's not for the wrong reasons. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's not worth doing. It can actually be very much worth doing because it challenges you, forces you to let go. The difficulty is not in watching it. The difficulty is in bearing with the fact that it's not the way you want it to be, and learning to let go of wanting and expectations and that kind of thing.
Seem to be caught up with all the questions for the moment. Were you going to tell us something about McMaster University today?
Right. So I went to McMaster University, got my student card, had the meeting, and then I went to get on the bus, and they wouldn't let me on the bus. Can anyone guess why that was? Robin guessed after a few tries. While you're thinking about that one, I have some things that maybe this group can help me with. First of all, we need Buddhist flags. I need big Buddhist flags. Like we're talking, well, bigger than this, but like this tall, you know? Like that doesn't have to be that big, but actually maybe about this big, maybe about 3 feet. What I'd like is a the one with the Dhammachakra, one, and the six colored one. I mean, I guess big is better. Actually, a bigger is better. I'd like to have one to put on our door, our screen door. The front door has the screen door. We could put it sideways as a sign that you're in the right place. And yeah, Ryan got it right away. Yes, I was trying to get on the bus barefoot. So I finally told her that it was religious. And she said, well, come on, I'll see what I can do. It's like a it's like a carte blanche if or what is it? It's like a is that the right term? It's like
Well, she couldn't argue against it. You're
it's
clearly
something
a
you can,
monk.
but it's kind of unfair. I'm doing this for religious purposes. What can you say? I mean, whoa, lawsuit or
Yes, you're a
mm,
protected category.
I'm
And
gonna
it
get
is
it.
for
You
religious
could get.
purposes.
They must get afraid and think they can get fired if they do the wrong thing.
Probably.
Kind of unfair of me. But what was I gonna do? I wasn't lying. It's religious. Religious. How?
Well,
My shoes broke. My sandals broke, and because I'm a monk, I can't just go out and buy sandals, so I have to go barefoot. It's part of my. It's religious that when my sandals break, I have to go barefoot. It's also actually we aren't even allowed technically to wear sandals in the village. When we enter into the town or village, we're not allowed to wear sandals. So there's that. If you want to be strict about the rules. If you have these flags, send them to. Let me see. One. Moving in on the first. So you could send them to 2 Bond Street South, Hamilton, Ontario, L8S 1S7. Is that right? What's the postal code?
I just have to look that up.
L8S 1S7, I think. L8S, here it is.
L8S 1S7.
Yeah. Driving without footwear. Yeah, luckily I don't have a driver's license, so there's that. Okay, so that was the first thing. Does that mean someone is going to have it, can acquire these? I mean, I could hunt them down, but I thought, hey, maybe there's someone who can do it.
Yeah, let me put these on the volunteer list. We have our volunteer group, and for anyone who's interested, it's a Facebook group, but you don't have to be on Facebook. That's just kind of a convenient way to put the information out there. But we have a list of all the different things that would be useful to the new monastery, to Bhante. So
That's the
that's,
Facebook thing, right?
yeah, that's on Facebook. So we've got a list there, and
This
I'll
would
add links
be
to it.
these things we'd like to have for the 8th. We're having a meeting at the house on the 8th. Oh, awesome. If you could send me a flag. I need two if possible. One, the 6-colored one, and one, the Dhamma wheel orange one. Because we're going to use them at the club fest. And as I said, put one in the door of the house. Actually, both of them. Maybe I can fly. Americans fly flags. Can Canadians fly flags? Because Americans, it's your right to have a flag on your front lawn, right?
Yes.
Is that true? I don't know about that about in Canada. I don't know if we have that. We're not flag wavers. But I think in America you can't complain about it. I don't know if you can complain in Canada. If we put up a flagpole. Because if we put up a sign, right? If we put up a sign, I think they can get you in trouble because we're not registered as a business.
Zoning laws and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I know more about America actually because we were talking about this sort of thing in America. But a flag, if we were in America, they couldn't stop us. No one could complain. We're right on the corner anyway, so I'm not thinking that anyone's going to complain about anything. But I think that's an interesting question because what do zoning laws say about flag waving?
So what are you thinking of, the kind that is attached right to the house, the
I don't know.
flagpoles that
We
go
could
right on
put
the
up a.
house?
I don't know. It's just an idea because I
Yeah,
mean, then
that's a good
people can
idea.
see it. Then they see, oh, this is the place. There's the Buddhist flag. I've just never seen anyone waving flags, flying flags.
Oh,
It's
I'm
kind of.
surprised. In America, it
Oh
is.
yeah.
It is very common. I always have a flag on my house, but usually not the national flag. Usually it's seasonal or something.
Uh-huh. No, I don't think we'd go the set cement way. Find some other way to do it.
Yeah, they have the ones that just attach to your house. It's like a little bracket,
The
and
diagonal ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'd be the way to go. Set it on our front porch, attached to the front porch. I guess I was thinking more like the cement flagpole thing. I wonder if you could
Well,
get like a. Yeah, that's a whole other issue. You'd need to get permission. You need to have at least have the city inspected, I bet, if you ever wanted to do that. But not that we could do it because the landlords probably wouldn't allow for that.
yeah,
Anyway, I'll think about that. If I can get a couple of flags, that would be awesome.
yeah. I will add that to the volunteer list.
I need someone to write up a one-page summary of what Buddhism is, suitable for someone who knows nothing about Buddhism. So I've posted it on Stack Exchange as a question. If anyone wants to go over there and give us an answer.
But you want an answer from someone who doesn't know anything about Buddhism?
Not from, but for.
Oh, four. Okay, because that would be challenging for someone to write a summary.
No, I want someone to do like take the Wikipedia page and condense it down to one page. I thought at first I said, "Oh, I'll just take the Wikipedia entry," but that was foolish because Wikipedia entry is at least 10 pages. Um, Another thing we need is panels. Someone had the good idea. We're going to have this table set up for Club Fest. And you know those 3-panel things that people put at exhibitions? How does that work? Like you just get Bristol board, is that what it's called?
You buy those at like a stationery, like a Staples, something like that. I think Staples would have them. It's
Is it?
like a trifold thing, like that you'd use for
Yeah.
a science
Yeah. I
expo
was
or
looking at
something.
the ones that they have on the internet, and they're over $100, which leads me to believe
Wow.
it's something special.
Hmm.
But I'm assuming like a cardboard one is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if, but yeah, the hard ones are actually a little bit expensive.
I'll check at work. I think we have one kicking around.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
they're called 3-panel display, 3-panel exhibition display, something like that. First thing that comes up is $314.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty fancy one.
It's not at all what we're looking for. Right, the production ones are all. Don't. Yeah, I mean this is ridiculous. $400 for something that you put on the table.
Yeah, you're looking at the really fancy ones that I think like
This
with
is affordable.
for school supplies.
Yeah,
Okay, I've got one here for $13.
that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, but I think we actually do have one at work left from the old days when we used to do fairs and things. Oh.
It's funny, I can't see that link that Ryan posted because I'm not in America and I don't have a zip code. That's a very poor design of the website.
Hmm.
Elmer's, there we go, 1327. That's what we need. I actually didn't say that I would get it for the group. The group was probably going to get it themselves, but I thought, well, I mean, why don't we get it for them? I'm sort of the the most gung ho of everyone to do this. So they're all students and caught up in their own lives. Project, that's the word. Here we are. This is what we're looking for. $15 in Canada.
How many did you need, Bante? Just one? Or a couple
Just
of them?
one. Just one.
Yeah, I'm almost positive we have one at work, and we're getting ready to move at work, so they're looking to get rid of all the miscellaneous stuff.
Awesome. So if you can bring it up, we need it for the 8th. You'll be here on the 5th, right? 5th.
They're on the 5th and 6th, yes.
Great. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Someone just asked about library, which reminds me. Yeah, we can add a target blank. Can do that right now if you like. But starting a library, I thought, well, now that we've got the house, this is another thing. I've got a bunch of books here that I'll bring over, but one of the rooms could potentially become a library. So yeah, if people want to send us books, this would be a good time to begin doing that. What's going on here? No, the whole target equals blank is something I have to do at this end. You won't even notice it.
I think there was a quick question that I missed here. Do you sit in full lotus when you meditate?
Do I sit in full lotus?
That's the first part of the question. Then the person says, I usually sit in half lotus, but it always scrolls at the wrong time. I usually sit in half lotus, but have read that doing so can be damaging to the knees over time.
I haven't heard that, but it does hurt after a while. I mean, if you're doing samatha meditation, it's less likely to hurt. If you're doing vipassana, it's not something that's easily sustainable.
Is the Burmese position, is that more traditional for our tradition? Or is there anything specific that's recommended?
Sorry, say again?
Is the Burmese position the more traditional one for our tradition, or is there anything in particular
Yeah.
recommended?
Yeah, I mean, the Burmese people, they recommend one leg in front of the other. You know, the links do have... Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. Wonder what the Linkify thing is. Place smileys. How is the link thing working? I don't know how it's even doing that. Um,
Is Sri Lanka open to foreign people who want to become a monk? And is Ekayana Maga Aranya open for foreign people?
yes and yes, but the problem is you have to go there, get to know them first, and then go back to your home country, and with a letter from them, go back to your home country and get a new visa to go back a second time. So you have to make 2 trips. It's actually on GitHub. You could look on GitHub, but I don't know how I did that. Where is it doing? It might be doing it in PHP, which doesn't make any sense. But the whole script is, it may not be up to date, but the script is on GitHub. Hmm. Here's the script. I don't know how it's doing it. I thought it was in this function format chat message. Maybe it's in replace smileys. Might be in this hidden in the smiley function. I think there it is. Wait. Yeah, it's in the smiley function. I found it. It's where it shouldn't be. All right, can't do that. Okay, it's live. Ah, wait, 16. if you refresh your page, now the links should have target equals blank, which means you click on them, they're going to open in a new window. Ta-da! Yeah, I took that from somewhere. That's not mine. Isn't it awful looking? Anyway, how we doing? Do we have more questions?
We do.
Okay,
Considering
does anyone think that, here's a question for you guys to consider. Is the chat history enough, or should it go back further? Because right now I think it's like 50 messages. It only shows you the last 50 messages. We could up that to like 100, but it means every call to the server is gonna, means more bandwidth on our end. But anyway, it's a question. If anyone has problems with not being able to scroll back far enough, right, what Robin said already, probably I'll just change it to 100. Anyway, Robin, question? Go ahead.
Yes. Considering translations of the teachings, which concepts, if any, have been substantially misinterpreted?
I don't know. Why are you asking me this late at night? Go ask on Stack Exchange.
I was just thinking of that because I think there was something about teachings, a newer user who had found some inaccuracies. So,
But
yeah,
you're
Stack
asking, I
Exchange
mean,
was
this kind
asking.
of question, this kind of, I mean, why are you asking this question? You see? If you had a specific concept and you're wondering whether it's been mistranslated, that's, I mean, this sounds like a curiosity question. And I'm not convinced that you really, I mean, you're asking too much. If you want to ask about a specific concept, then fine, but I can't just list off a bunch of concepts that have been mistranslated. I'm sure there are. I know there are, but
Any advice on getting friends and family to meditate? I invite mine, but they are resistant and seemingly a bit fearful.
that's cool, you know, power to them. If they don't want to meditate, it's their prerogative. We're not here to change the world. We're here to become enlightened. Even the Buddha couldn't change people, but he was so pure that he just had to talk and act and be, and people listened to him. I mean, that's, if you read the suttas, you read the suttas and you get so confident because you think, wow, the Buddha did it, I must be able to do it. And so you go and it doesn't work. The reason the Buddha was able to do it is it was an expression of his enlightenment.
That's what I think of sometime with the bodhisattva ideal, where no one's going to become enlightened until the last person becomes enlightened, because there's all these people that don't want to meditate. So it's going to be a long, long time.
Yeah, well, not just people. The Mahasi Sayadaw says, what about the mosquitoes? You know, we're not talking just people. We're talking about enlightening mosquitoes, which, you know, the unfathomable amount of time that's going to take. The question of whether that could ever be possible to enlighten even one mosquito, let alone the millions, billions, I don't know how many mosquitoes there are on Earth. And then the question of whether the Earth is the only place where there is life, sentient life. I don't know.
I've heard that roughly half of the species on Earth are all beetles. There's that many different species of beetles, so they're going to be hard to enlighten as well, I think.
Absolutely.
And there was a request from Charlie to add sandals to your Amazon wish list, perhaps. Maybe that would make
Yeah,
it
I don't like to
easier.
do that because then they're like, "What the heck? Why are you choosing those sandals?" Or I don't know. I mean, there's which I don't know which ones to pick. I feel guilty if what if I choose ones that are? Should I choose ones that? See, when you specify, say I want this, I want that, it's problematic. And when it's things for the office, I feel a little more comfortable because it's like for making Dhamma. Like I just got the idea. There's this thing that holds the monitors up. You can actually attach your monitors to a thing that will take them off the desk, and that gives you more desk space. Anyway, sorry. Things like that I'm okay with, but sandals for me, it's like, well, it's a bit selfish. So I got some bright blue plastic sandals that they're letting me use here, but I wouldn't dare take them out of the monastery. Bright blue and orange, kind of awesome.
They sound pretty awesome. And then the question, what did Venerable Ajahn Tong mean when he said that the world of beings is without limit?
Hmm. I believe it's something the Buddha said, no? There are four things without limit. One of them is Satta Nikaya, I believe the Pali is. He was just relating what the Buddha said. Let's look it up.
Actually, nothing popped up right away.
Yeah, it's not Satta Nikaya. Satta Nikaya is used, but it's not used in this context. I think I've looked this up and couldn't find it, now that I think about it.
Yeah, definitely nothing that pops up really obviously.
What are you looking?
I looked beings without limit, four things without limit, things without limits, all with Buddhism, and not really getting anything obvious that would tie in with that. Where where was this said about the world of beings without limit?
My teacher said it. He said these
Oh, okay.
four things without limit.
Okay.
I don't know where he got it from. He gets stuff from. Oh, here we are. Knowledge of the Buddha, the world of beings, the universe and space. What the Venerable Sir said. Where did you get that from? Is it something I said? Because I know I have that recorded. I have him recorded as saying that. But where did you get it from? From a book? Maybe one of the English translations of those talks?
Oh, it's a talk. It's a talk you had posted from
And I
Ajahn
translated.
Tong. I
Right.
watched that too. That was so nice.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to do that. Click the
Yeah.
CC button. It's stitched together. It's nice to actually have something of him. He's, I mean, at this point, he's old. He's. This is fairly recent. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, but he's old and he's quite tired and overworked.
Did you film this, Bhante?
No, I found this it's on YouTube already.
Oh,
I cleaned up the audio a bit and stitched it together and put the subtitles. That's all I did. Yeah, there's a link in the description. Four things to tell. It might be in the commentaries, because he does take a lot from the commentaries. Oh, if you think that's a good talk. I once translated, they made this book, but I felt that the translation wasn't quite as good as it could be, so I retranslated it. I translated this talk, and we made a booklet out of it, and I lost the file and the booklet, so it was a long time ago. Probably I could retranslate that. I mean, when he was at his peak, and the talks that I have, in fact, there's they've made now, they've got English translations. I handed over about, what was it, 24 hours or something, 40 hours? How many hours did I have of recordings? The first year I was with Ajahn Tong as a monk, I didn't know Thai even, but every morning and some evenings he would give a talk to the monks, and I patched into the amplifier and recorded them on mini disc. This was before MP3. This is when the best thing you could find, and no one was using it, but it was the best format for doing bulk recordings, high quality. It's mini disc. It was big in Europe. And I still have all the recordings, but they've now been transferred to DVD, I think. I don't know where I have them now. But handed them all over, and they made books out. They made books, and then they translated them as well. Yeah, you could send books to Bond Street address after the first. That'd be awesome. Does anyone hear Ajahn Tong at his best? Let's see if I can find him. Don't even know if I have it on here.
And as far as sending things after the first, it takes such an incredibly long amount of time to send things to Canada. It's amazing. I think it took like 2 weeks to send a birthday card. So if you send them now, it's probably not too early even.
Here's an MP3. Where are you going to hear this?
วันนี้เป็นวันที่หนึ่ง
Can you hear that?
ในประเทศและทั่วโลกได้ถือว่าสากลนิยมว่าเป็นวันที่หนึ่งเมื่อคืนนี้หมู่นายกรัฐมนตรีคณะรัฐมนตรีได้มีการปฏิญาณกันว่าเราจะทั้งหลายจะทำดีตรงกับคำสอนของพระพุทธเจ้าว่าจิตที่ตั้งไว้ดีแล้วจะดีทุกอย่างเลยตลอดภพชาติ ถ้าจิตที่ตั้งไม่ดีจะไม่ดีทุกภพทุกชาติเพราะความประทุษร้ายแห่งจนก็ดีจนนั้นมาประทุษร้ายของบุคคลใดบุคคลหนึ่งจะฉิบหายและตายในชาตินี้เท่านั้นแต่จิตที่ตั้งไว้ผิดนั้นมันจะประทุษร้ายทุกภพทุกชาติไปแต่ว่าคนที่ตายจนประทุษร้ายจนจะตายเพียงแต่แห่งชาตินี้เท่านั้นแต่ว่าจิตนั้นไม่ตายจิตที่ประทุษร้ายจิตไม่ตายมันจะต้องเกิดแล้วเกิดอีกทำกรรมแล้วทำกรรมอีกเพราะฉะนั้นตัวจิตนี้สำคัญเมื่อวันนี้เป็นวันที่หนึ่งซึ่งทุกคนนะจะต้องตั้งจิตไว้ให้ดีว่าเราจะต้องอยู่ในศีลและต้องอยู่ในธรรมเราพยายามที่จะอดทนพยายามที่มุ่งมั่นอุดมการณ์แห่งจิตแห่งพระพุทธเจ้าที่ตั้งบอกไว้ว่านิพพานคือความพ้นทุกข์เราจะถึงที่สุดแห่งทุกข์ต้องปฏิบัติในวิปัสสนาในแนวสติปัฏฐานทั้งสี่ตามที่พระองค์ได้ทรงได้ตรัสไว้และอัครสาวกทั้งหลายพระอรหันต์ทั้งหลายอริยเจ้าทั้งหลายเดินไปสู่จุดหมายคือความดับทุกข์ด้วยทางใดทางนั้นคือสติปัฏฐานทั้งสี่เพราะฉะนั้นขอให้เราทั้งหลายจงตั้งจิตไว้ให้ดีในวันนี้ตอนนี้ไปก็จะได้กราบสติปัฏฐานก่อนแล้วเดินจงกรมนั่งสมาธิต่อไป
That's the last thing he said there. Now we're gonna. Then at the end of every talk, he says, "Oh, now we do mindful prostration, walking and sitting." This was right before we do practice. He would give us a short talk like this. And recorded hours and hours of these.
Did he say Satipatthana there? It sounded like it.
Yeah, he said Vipassana Nainyo Satipatthana Tangsi, which is Vipassana in line with the 4 Satipatthana.
Nice.
So someone translated a lot of these into English, and you can get them from Jomtong. I tried to get a hold of the files to put on the internet, but, you know, Thailand. They tried to, I don't want to say, no, not worth talking about. Well, maybe I'll try again to get them. They're worth getting. I mean, Ajahn Tong, from the time that I've known him, he was already 80, right? And he's never been a huge orator. You know, they're giving big talks, giving in-depth talks about anything. His talks, as far as they go, are awesome for inspiration, you know, because he cuts through all the crap and inspires you. But where he really shines is in one-on-one, which is how we all, you know, that's how I prefer, you know, meeting with an individual. Like when I was in British Columbia, I met with 30 people. So all day I was meeting with people one-on-one and answering their questions like we do here. But there was questions about their meditation. They were having meditation. They were practicing meditation, some for the first time, and they had problems. You know, he's a master at that. That's what he really does. He doesn't really give. I have very few Dhamma talks that he gave. A lot of introductory talks. And I have some good introductory talks. But mostly it's, you know, what he taught in, what he was able to impart to the meditator to set them on the right path. And yeah, he's got a great voice. Just, I mean, everything about him is so wonderful. Just his aura, his presence. I think if you're not meditating, you might not notice it, but as a meditator, you just appreciate him. So everyone comes, you just sitting with him, watching every day people come up with all sorts of problems, and everyone left smile. Almost everyone would leave smiling. It was like I was writing in my book, and one day I just wrote down, everyone gets something good. I was just amazed how the different sort of people you see, and it was all giving them something good. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, bragging about your teachers is probably not in good form, but he's pretty awesome. Sometimes I like to YouTube his name. I should do that now. Let's see, Ajahn Tong, because I'm not the only one putting up videos about him, right? So people post these videos. Here we are, chanting Fo Guang. In Singapore. That's not Ajahn Tong. It's a different Ajahn Tong. Right, that didn't work.
Here's 6 that you've put up, but you're looking for ones by other people?
Yeah. And then you can look for it in Thai as well. I've done that. That's probably more likely.
Here's one.
Let's see if I can... I don't have a Thai keyboard, so I have to find the keys. Where's the J? Ajahn... Ajahn... There we are. Nothing. It's kind of depressing, you know. I mean, they've got so much resources, and they aren't doing anything on like YouTube or internet. It's what was ultimately disappointing about the whole organization at that place.
They didn't want you to do a project like that? They didn't see value in it?
Oh, there were lots of things I could have done, but it wasn't about me. I mean, someone else could have done all this.
No, just thinking of the technical ability. I know, you are a little more advanced in that than some monks, I would think.
Yeah, I wasn't in the inner circle, though. Here's a bunch of photos someone put up of him. Lung Pu Tong. You want to see photos? think Ajahn Supan has some videos. Wat Lampung. Wat Lampung has its own channel. Oh no, that's not the right one. There's a Wat Lampung channel where all of his talks are put up, which is pretty awesome. PP Kenobi, I think. Yeah, I got tons of talks by Ajahn Supan. Ajahn Supan is one of the big disciples of Ajahn Tong. He's the abbot and the head teacher at the monastery where Ajahn Tong became famous. And he teaches foreigners, but he's got a real establishment set up. Here, yes. You want to learn about him? He's a good friend. We're good friends. He doesn't give talks in English though. Akhat Payabat. He's very smart, very intelligent. He's a good teacher. He's very intellectual, which I mean in a good way. He's able to dissect things and explain things and give logical arguments. He's very knowledgeable in the Abhidhamma. I once had a question about Nibbana, and I asked, because I was learning Abhidhamma, and my teacher said Nibbana is Nama, is a Nama Dhamma. And I was confused because Nama is, like Nama Rupa is something, is a part of Dukkha Satya. Nama Rupa is part of samsara. So how could Nibbana be Nama? And I'd asked different people and didn't get a satisfying answer. And finally I asked Ajahn Supan, and what he said is that Nibbana, the definition of Nama is often anything that isn't Rupa. So the meaning of, so Nama is defined as that which is not Rupa. Which I thought was a clever answer. We went to India together. I went to India with him once, with his group, tagged along. Got to stay in a room with him. Nice guy. Teaches a little bit different. I found that their teaching is a little bit problematic, especially for Westerners, because they force you to do a certain number of hours a day. I don't know if they still do, but they did for the longest time, and it's Ajahn Tong doesn't really. I mean, I talked to Ajahn Tong about it, and he wasn't satisfied with that. Ajahn Tong certainly never teaches number of hours per day. He seems rather critical of it, from what I've been told, from what he's told me.
How many hours a day was it?
Well, it would go up. They'd start you at, say, 6 hours a day, and then next day it would be 8, and then it would be 10, and then it would be 12. Ajahn Tong says do some in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening. Ajahn Tong is very soft. He's on the soft side. My first teacher, Tanat, the layman who runs courses behind the monastery, he said there's two kinds of teachers. There's hard teachers and there's soft teachers. Ajahn Tong is a soft teacher. I think that's fairly true. He's not so soft as anyone could walk all over him, but he is fairly soft. No, I've never met Susayada Upandita. I met Ujjanaka. He came to Chiang Mai. He came to Wat Rampung, actually, and I met him. Had a chance to talk to him briefly. Anyway, this is all just chatting, no? But it's Dhamma chat, so it's
It
fine.
is. Good resources.
But I have to go. So,
Thank you, Bante.
oh, Ryan's asking about flags.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Here they both are. They're on this page. Scroll down. They're in about the third or fourth post down, third post down. So I guess the Dhamma wheel one is specifically in Thailand, but it's a good flag as well. The six colors one, I mean, if you're not Buddhist, you don't recognize that as Buddhist, but it is the international accepted Buddhist flag. Be nice to have them both.
There's one on Amazon Canada, 3 by 5 foot. Let's see if
Really?
it's
On Amazon?
Amazon Canada, yeah.
Amazon sells.
Everything.
What did you look up? Buddhist flag?
Yeah.
Wrong place. Oh, you got Tibetan flags. And you've got the six color ones. Did you find one with the Dhamma wheel on it?
I didn't get that far. No, I just saw is that the correct 6-color flag?
Yeah.
Let's see.
They're small. I mean, it's the kind of thing probably best get from Asia. It's easy
Yeah,
to find in Bangkok.
yeah, definitely. I'm just thinking of
Korea.
trying to get you said you wanted it for September 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Asia might be too late for that.
Could we get a piece of orange cloth and silk screen the thing on it? Make it ourselves? Have it made? How does silk screening work? That you have to make the whole. If it's yeah, or there's got to be some printing that can be done.
Maybe it would be easier if somebody knew how to sew to actually
Well, the
sew it.
six colors, yeah, that one. But the Dhamma wheel, yeah,
Oh,
the six colors. You just buy six pieces of fabric and sew them together. They might have something here. Another thing I was thinking is I could take some of the props they have here at the monastery. They got so much decoration here. I could see if there's anything useful.
there's a Buddhism flag, Samsung Galaxy S3 cover skin. That's awesome.
Is that awesome or is that crass? I guess it's kind of awesome.
It's just amazing that they have it. It's kind of pretty too. Orion was asking what size flag you would most like.
Something bigger than 3 inches. I mean, as big as possible.
Oh, I thought that was 3 feet. No.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe I'm
Because the one below
reading
it
it
had
wrong.
a hand to show the 3x5 is like an index card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't specifying 3. What I thought it was 3 foot by 5 foot, but no, probably not.
eBay.
Now this Monte
Here we are. Thai Buddhist flag, $10, $9.
well, in the description, it does say 3 by 5 foot if you look at the details
No,
for that
really?
one. It seems to, yeah.
A 3 by 5 foot. You look at the one for $9?
Yeah, that does say 3 by 5 foot, right?
Yeah, that one says. What's the other one I was looking at? It also says 3 by 5, but the one below it has the one below it says 3 by 5 and shows the hand for comparison. Size 3 by 5. 3 by 5 what? But yeah, the other one does say, is the other one also cafe press?
This one is 7 Bros.
Oh, so it's a different company. Yeah, so that one's maybe cool. 3 foot by 5 foot. 5 foot that's awesome. That's the right size.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of their page for 7 Bros, and they have a bunch of 3 by 5 foot house flags. So that one should be good, right?
I'll add that to the wish list maybe.
Sure. Or unless did someone here want to get that, or should I put it on the general wish list?
Well, I just put it on my wish list.
Oh, okay. Even better.
And I found the Thai Buddhist flag on eBay. From Thailand.
Now, does Amazon let you put an eBay item on your Amazon wish list?
It does.
Does it really?
Yeah, you can put a link.
Oh, that's cool.
Where's this one shipping from? From LA. $33 by 23 inches, so that's 3 feet by 2 feet.
I don't think you should worry about the neighbors. I think you should put the nagas out front and like a
true American.
yeah, and
Don't
like
worry about your neighbors.
a facade that sort of makes it look like a.
We Canadians are very conscious of our neighbors.
A facade that makes it look like a giant temple.
Yeah. 50 centimeters by 73 centimeters. How big is that? $2.4 feet. This one is coming from Bangkok. I can get these.
This one here looks like a really nice quality flag. It's from Germany. Same size.
I don't know how to put it on the on the wish list, but here's the one on eBay.
Okay.
This is what I'm looking for. It's a bit smaller than the other one, but there's a big one, but it's from Thailand, and that would never get here in time, I don't think. They're way overpriced. I think. But what you gonna do?
The one you linked, it was $9.99.
Yeah, which is way overpriced. But you know, it's worth that to us.
Yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
worth that, and much more.
Definitely.
What can you say?
You have meditators in the computer store across the street, Drew?
Do I have meditators? What do you mean?
No, Drew says he might be able to snag a few meditators from the computer store across the street. So, are there meditators there, or you're going to grab some people and convert them?
I don't grab people.
No, this is something Drew had typed in, that he was going to snag a few meditators from the computer store across the street. Oh, the computer store across the street from the new monastery.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So that's it. There's one in LA. Somebody can get that to us. That'd be awesome. Anyway, yeah, that's enough for tonight. So that's all. Yeah. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Robin.
Good
Good
night.
night.